Now we're going to move to logos. The first is appeal to ignorance. So remember, in logos, we're gaining facts and then we're making some type of assertion based on those facts. So it's probability that we're looking at. So appeal to ignorance is saying that because there's no evidence, I can now move on to creating assertions or making statements. And we see that this is lacking the first part of logic. It's lacking the facts. So we can't use the lack of evidence as evidence itself. So we look at this. We found no evidence of voter tampering, so it simply didn't happen. Okay, again, just because you didn't find evidence doesn't mean that it didn't happen. All it means is you didn't find evidence. So we can't get to the assumption that fulfills the requirements for logic if we don't have any facts to begin with. Because nobody complained about NCCC's removal of blue cheese dressing on the salad bar, everyone must be okay with it. And we can see that this is somewhat a ridiculous argument, but it is an argument that's been made before. If people aren't complaining about something, therefore we don't have evidence, they must be okay with it. Okay, so again, that lack of evidence cannot be used as evidence. Okay, the next one is a red herring. If you don't know what a red herring is, it is a fish, and it's a particularly stinky fish. So we think of the movies where somebody escapes prison and they pull out the bloodhounds who chase them through the woods and ultimately catch them. Some wise prisoner found out that if he has his girlfriend run the opposite way with this stinky fish, the dogs will chase the scent of the fish. So a red herring is doing just that. They divert the reader's attention away from the issue or away from the claim that's being made. Okay, so we can look at this way. You have been accused of stealing. Okay, and your response, who told you I was stealing? So instead of addressing the theft itself, now we're diverting the attention to who told you this. Okay, so you can see the red herring is running the opposite way or running away contrary to the issue at hand. Another example. Yes, I know I forgot to deposit the check into the bank yesterday, but nothing I do pleases you. So this person doesn't want to address whether they deposited the check or not. They want to change the subject to how nothing I do pleases you. Okay, so we're diverting that reader's attention to some other area. The next one is a hasty generalization. So this is probably the most common one that I see students commit. And part of the problem with the hasty generalization is it does contain logic. It's just a problem in the amount of facts that we bring in before we start making statements based on those facts. So hasty generalization usually creates a conclusion just on a small sample of evidence. So we think of our essays that contain one quote, and then we kind of subject that quote to the nation or the world, or we apply it too globally for what it was meant for. That's creating that hasty generalization. So evidence shows that love is not worth the pain of dating. Okay, so I'm making this conclusion and I'm basing it on evidence. Let's see what that evidence was. The claim is based on a survey given as male patrons exited a singles bar. Okay, so we can see that this data sampling is not going to be enough to make that claim, that we're only gathering a small bit of data from probably a biased source, which are patrons leaving a singles bar, especially if they're leaving alone. Of course, they would say love is not worth the pain of dating. Okay, so we can see the problem with taking this small bit of evidence and applying it globally. Franklin County drivers are the worst because this one time. Okay, so again, if we're basing it on one action or even 3 or 4 actions that we've seen from Franklin County drivers, we can't say that they are the worst. we would have to get data from all these other counties in order to make some type of assessment like that.